My name is Jim Carney, and I am a software engineer. All sciences are based on principles. Software engineering is the same way. If you take software engineering principles, you would apply them to design, development, maintenance, testing, and evaluation of computer software. Technology is changing the world, and as a software engineer, you get to create the pieces that create those changes. I was in the Navy for several years, and while I was in the Navy, I was working as an electrical engineer fixing computer parts. So I was doing all the hardware stuff. And eventually, after I got out of the Navy, I figured, oh my goodness, I learned all the hardware stuff. I may as well go learn the software stuff. And then I ended up going down the software engineering trail. I think I would have to say the people are the most important thing to me. I'm surrounded by the smartest people in California. We are saving people's lives by transforming their pain and getting rid of it. And I think by doing that, we give them a second lease on life. And as engineers, we're all working together to accomplish that same goal. Normally I get to work somewhere around 7 o'clock in the morning. So the ideas of work will change based on what tasks are at hand. They could range anywhere from doing requirement reviews to creating tests to actually creating code that goes inside the software that we use to help people with their pain. The hardest part of my job? Probably answering this question. No, I'm just kidding. If I had to pick the hardest part of the job, I think it would be when we test the software. If we find what we call a bug or a problem issue, there are many different things that could have happened in order to cause that issue, and we actually have to drill down to find out what the real cause was, and that's probably the hardest part of it. We create the software for the devices that go inside the patients, and we don't want to hurt any of the patients at all. The tests and the software that we write in order to find the bugs that would possibly hurt the patients are the one thing that it's basically like a wall before the stuff gets shipped out to the customer. And if we find that there's a problem, then we can't ship the software. We have to actually sit there and go through it and figure it out, because we do not want to hurt the patient in any way whatsoever. I'm not sure that we have that many problems, other than when we start finding issues with the software. I mean, every place you go, you have personal problems with people at work, or you have conflicts of interest and things like that, but you're actually in a work environment, and it's professional, and everyone there is very, very helpful. If you find issues, people are willing to jump in and help you try to root cause it, because we all know that the patient is the most important thing for us, and we don't want to hurt the patient in any way. So we do everything we can to solve every problem we can before anything gets out the door. Most of my decisions are software based. It's trying to decide how I wish to accomplish a certain task, and we get to create the software in a fashion that can do it. But we can, I mean, like any software, there's ways of doing things there's multiple ways of doing things, and you have to decide which one is best for what you're trying to do. I think the most important one is you have to be logical. You have to be logical in your approach to what you're doing. It has to follow a specific pattern. If you are jumping from one piece of software code to the next, you're going to have a lot of mistakes and a lot of problems. But if you follow a logical pattern where you go step by step by step, then you know where you are at all times, and you know what the software is doing at all times, and you can take whatever measurements that are necessary in order to make things happen. People's lives are on the line, and you have to be able to understand what you're doing and understand what will be the patient's point of view when the patient has this piece of equipment inside their body. So I think you need to understand what's going on and understand from the patient's point of view. So you have to put yourself in the patient's shoes in order to resolve the issues. All science can be self-taught. If you want to work for a company, the company has to verify that you actually know the knowledge, and the degree is probably the first thing they're going to be looking for. But if you go to college, they're going to give you a book, and they're going to give you classes that teach you what's inside the book. You can do the same thing at home. You can self-teach yourself. There are a lot of people who do it. But if you're going to do that, then you should be creating your own business at the same time, because most businesses, like I said, will be looking for that degree as proof of your knowledge. If you just came out of college, you can probably get a starting job somewhere in the mid-30s to mid-40s. If you happen to be in the field for a long period of time, you could be well into the six figures. I think the most important thing I could tell them is that they need to have fun. If you're doing a job that you're not interested in, then it's probably not going to make you happy. I go on the concept that you should conceive, believe, and achieve. So if you think you can do the job, then convince yourself and believe that it can be done. Then you will be able to achieve anything that you set your mind to. Having fun is probably the most important thing in life. Get a job that makes fun. Everything else will work out just fine.